guys, it's Chelsea from the Smart Cookie Files, and today I have a brand new video that I wanted to talk about. Well, actually just a topic that I wanted to talk about, which is canceled TV shows. Now, before I get to the actual, there will be an announcement at the end of this video, so make sure to watch to the end, or you can skip to the end. I'll put in the description box where the announcement starts. But make sure you watch that announcement because it's very important. Alright, so basically, most people that know me know that I don't like watching TV. TV to me is like boring, and it is just like a waste of time. And there's only like a select, maybe 5 shows that I watch regularly, one of which is General Hospital. And the others are, it varies depending on what's on or what is on my DVR. But basically I've only had about 6 shows so far in my TV watching history that have ever done anything for me besides basically late 90s, early 2000s Disney Channel did for me, which it had That's a Raven, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Lizzie McGuire, Kim Possible, Proud Family, all those shows that are now on Disney Plus. But basically I never really felt that kind of like excitement about TV outside of Disney Channel. But these 6 shows were shows that I really liked, and they ended up getting canceled. So without further ado, let's get into it. Was in Peter Pan. So I believe they cast him in the role because they thought that he would bring the success of Peter Pan to the show. And then they also put in Dean Cain and Kirsten Storms, who's now in General Hospital. And it was a show about basically being, I think, the ball boy for a baseball team, for an actual pro baseball team. And I really liked it because it was family oriented, and it was actually like clean and sophisticated and interesting. There was this whole like aspect to the character that Jeremy Sumpter played that they could have developed, but they literally canceled it. They showed the pilot, and then I guess they didn't get enough viewers, so they just canceled it. And to me, that was like the saddest moment for little 14-year-old me, because I was like obsessed with Jeremy Sumpter and obviously the movie Peter Pan, and to have a show that he was on that I actually got into was really something, and it was sad when it got canceled. The next show that I really liked in TV history was Big Bang Theory, and that it actually was on for 12 seasons and recently ended, and it ended perfectly. I liked the way it ended, and now they have the spin-off, which is about Sheldon Cooper's younger years, called Young Sheldon. But Big Bang Theory was like hilarious, and it was all about science nerds, so I related to it. And then Sheldon Cooper, I don't know if it was ever confirmed or said on the show, but he came across as somebody who possibly could have had autism or Asperger's, which is what I have, and so I instantly related to him. There was actually a episode that I specifically remember where I totally related to the entire episode with Sheldon, and it was about him driving. And then they constantly busted his balls about it, Penny and the gang. And then he goes, well, I like to ride in the back because it makes me feel important. and that's how I've always been since I was a kid. And like, to me, that's exactly what I like about going in a car, is like being the passenger. You and especially if you ride in the back, you do feel like you're being driven around and that you matter. But I understand that there's a whole aspect to driving that I still have yet to conquer. But that was a profound moment in my TV watching where I felt entirely like being able to relate to a character as much as to like a fictional book character, etc. And it was really awesome. The next show that I really liked that got canceled was Beyond. It was a show on the Family Channel, which then became Freeform. And they had it on for, I believe, 2 full seasons, and then the 3rd season was kind of like almost like maybe 4 to 6 episodes. And it basically was about a kid who all of a sudden has all this like super strength and all these powers, and like it follows that about why he has it. And then the first episode is like literally, it reminded me of Kyle XY, where which was also a show that was on the Family Channel, and but then became Freeform, was because he woke up in the woods and he like didn't know why he was in the woods or anything like that. And then that kind of is the premise of the show and what it follows. But it like definitely follows like things that maybe Edgar Casey would talk about, or Edward Leeskin, the guy who created the Coral Castle, like things where it's kind of like the way the Aztecs or the Mayans built their whole like empire based on like superhuman strength and almost like mind power and things of that nature. So it's like a little far out science-y, and I like that. The next show that was on for 4 seasons and then got canceled was Jane the Virgin. And Jane the Virgin was probably one of my favorite shows. I watched every single episode and literally thought that there could have totally been more seasons that they could have did, but I believe it had something to do with either they maybe lost some of their viewership, but I don't think so. And they also kind of like struggled with what to do with Jane's character after she got married and she was no longer a virgin. So they kind of like pieced together how her life ended up and all this. And it really was a good show though, because it reminded me of General Hospital, but then it was like a Spanish version of General Hospital, so it was considered a telenovela almost. And it's super like, it had funny moments, it had really emotional moments, and it had gripping plot lines and also the episodes were like only, I believe they were an hour, and they kept you on the edge of your seat just like General Hospital, and I liked that. And then Gina Rodriguez became one of my favorite actresses because of that show, because she just really made Jane likable, and then also really portrayed somebody who waits for marriage and has more morals that they stand for, against a culture that kind of doesn't do that anymore. So she made it, that kind of character or perspective, definitely more appealing to people who never really understood that side of things. That's my take on it. The next show that I really liked was Devious Maids. I'm making sure. The next show that I really liked was Devious Maids. Devious Maids followed a similar suit to Jane the Virgin, which it was like a telenovela, but it was written and produced by Eva Longoria. So there was a lot of like, it was a little more raunchy, a little bit like a mix of Jane the Virgin meets Desperate Housewives. So it was like a lot of murder and sex and all the fun stuff. But it was like done in like a comedic, dramatic way. So it was hilarious, and I believe it was on for 5 or 6 seasons, and then it was taken off. It was used to be on Lifetime, and then I believe they moved it to another network, and then it kind of didn't go anywhere after that. So Grand Hotel was the next one, and that was recently a show that was on ABC in the summer of 2019, and it was on for 8 episodes. Again, it followed the same suit of, it was kind of like a telenovela meets a murder mystery. So it was really suspenseful and really interesting, and then they had these characters that had so many layers to them and could have definitely been developed and looked into each of their stories, but besides the main plot of like what happened at the Grand Hotel, but it didn't get renewed, and that was unfortunate. Then recently I just watched this show that was originally for Israeli TV, but it was called Beauty and the Baker, and it was just recently picked up by ABC for English television. And then it was the same style, telenovela meets like a telenovela style show, but it was kind of like where it related back to the ties of family, and so it followed just the baker's family, like how he ends up meeting and then developing a relationship with a famous celebrity, and it really was interesting. My personal tie to the show and why I kept watching was because the guy who plays Tony Alva in Lords of Dogtown was in that show. He was cast as the lead role. He played Daniel, and I thought that that show was really good. Only 8 episodes, and then it was canceled and not renewed. So unfortunately, these are all shows that could have been saved by Netflix, Hulu, Vudu. Somebody could have picked them up, and they wouldn't have died, but they died an untimely death. Maybe not Big Bang Theory, because it was on for 12 seasons and they do have the spin-off, but the rest of these definitely could have had more of a life to them. And it's unfortunate that somebody who doesn't really like TV had to lose all these shows. I don't know, guys. Maybe later in life, when I'm getting a little bit older, maybe I should go into screenwriting and maybe pick up one of these shows. What do you think? Let me know in the comments if you think I should do that, and which one you think I should write for, because I would totally be interested in doing that. Actually, one of my major dreams was that I always wanted to write or star in General Hospital. So you never know. Alright, lastly, we are at the end of the video. This is the crucial moment that you've all been waiting for. Today's announcement is that Sticks and Stones, my book, my poetry collection, has been nominated for Book of the Year, and you have the chance to help it win the title. All you have to do is go to the link in my description box, scroll down to where it says Book of the Year, put your email in, and then do the CAPTCHA, which usually it's book, hit vote. You will get an email from onlinebookclub.org where this contest is being hosted, and you will then be, all you have to do is click the link that they send you, and then make sure that you create an account, and then you might have to log in and log out, and then it should count your vote. And if it doesn't, make sure that it does. If you do not, if it doesn't say, if it comes up unverified on my account, then that means that it did not go through. So please make sure that it does. But if you do that for me, and you let me know by through social media or by email even. If you send a screenshot that you voted for me, the first 100 people, or possibly even the first 100 people who vote for me, whichever way, from social media or from this video, if you send me a screenshot, I will get your mailing address from you, and I will send you a free bookmark. It's a dual-sided bookmark, and it's in full color, and I would love to send it to you of no charge, just to say thank you. So please vote for Sticks and Stones by Chelsea DeVries for Book of the Year. The link is in the description. Until next time, feel free to express yourself. Bye guys!